dude in a muscle shirt with no muscles here, ready to actually show you Exodia. So basically this is more of an aggressive deck that I threw together just to kind of have a little bit of fun with. So hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get started into it. I shall become the creation God always said. Alright, little heads up. So I tried using this camera that I just got from Macro Shots, and it won't show anything that well. See? So pretty much like the whole point of what this whole video is, I'm gonna have to do the same shit that I normally do, so get used to it. Alright, so first off, if you're gonna run an Exodia deck, you need all 5 pieces of Exodia. And pretty much, if you don't know what he does, if you have all 5 pieces in your hand, you win the game, just like in the show. So Exodia obliterate, biatch. Next, I run 1 copy of the legendary incarnate Exodia. Basically what he does is you can sacrifice one of the other pieces, and he actually goes on the field. You can't pop him with any effects at all, which is pretty nice. When he's destroyed by battle, then you get to draw cards for each one, that are in your hand. Also, at the end of the turn, you get to retrieve a piece that's in the graveyard, so that's the whole point of him. Now for the bread and butter. 3 Raidens. Yes, this is going to be a Lightsworn Exodia deck. Now, I know some of you guys are going to be like, what the fuck, why would you do that? Basically what this guy does is you can summon him, and you can toss the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Starting to see where this is going? Probably not, because it's a stupid idea anyways. You gain 200 attack, and then also at the end phase, he does another 2 cards, which is actually kind of nice. And then also on top of that, he's a tuner. You're never going to make it as a YouTuber. You're never going to suck this dick. I'm not gay. Next 3 cards is Luminia, the Lightsworn. When she's on the field, you can discard 1 card and then grab one of the Lightsworns that are level 4 or lower in your graveyard, and you get to special summon that card. So normally you're going to do her with Raiden and Synchro. 3 Judgment Dragons. The reason you're running him is because he's also a win condition as well. You can special summon him from having 4 different Lightsworn monsters in your graveyard, and then pay 1,000 life points and he destroys everything on the field. Next I run 2 Jane, Lightsworn Paladin. So the reason I run this card is because it gains 300 attack when it battles another player's monster, and he also sends card to the graveyard, and he's just a different name, so he's just a nice little 2100 when he's on the field, pretty much. I'm not gay. Next I run 2 Wolves. His ability is when he's actually discarded from the deck to the graveyard, he actually gets special summon, and he's a 2100 attack by himself, so, and he's a level 4, so you should have did a macro shot, and you should have used a play mat. Does this bug you, bitch? Where is your god now, boy? Minerva, she's a level 3 tuner, and I don't run her for her main ability. Her main ability is to actually get a light dragon from your deck based on how many Lightsworns with different names are in your graveyard. She's actually there just to mill cards, and she's a level 3 tuner, so when you have a level 4 on the field that isn't a tuner, you can actually go into the Synchro monster that I'll be showing here in a little bit. And for the last of the monsters, I run Celestia, Lightsworn Angel. Basically, she actually pops 2 cards on the field after you mill 4 of your own. So Geralt, basically the reason I run him is because if there's another Lightsworn on the field and they mill a card, his ability is he gets to mill 2 more on top of that, and if there's a Lightsworn monster in there, you get to draw cards. Yeah, that really hurt. And the last monster is Ryuku, the Lightsworn Hunter. So the reason I run this card is because when he's face down on the field and flips face up, he pops and then throws 3 cards into the graveyard. So if you're noticing the pattern of this, you're thinking, if you're making an Exodia deck, why would you want to mill so many? Now let's go to the spells and traps, and I'll show you how. Oh, the video. So you're going to run 3 monster reincarnations. What this card does is you get to discard 1 card and bring 1 monster card from your graveyard to your hand. Starting to see something? Yeah. 2 Dark Eruptions. So it's a Lightsworn deck. Why would you do that? You're wanting to mill Exodia into the graveyard or get the pieces in your hand regardless. This brings back a dark monster with 1500 attack or less, and Exodia's head is only 1000 attack. 1 Dark Factory of Mass Reproduction. I tried running it with 2 of them. It just really didn't need it. I think one of them is just fine. You pretty much get to throw them in the graveyard and then just grab 2 of them when you need it. And you already have a field on there they have to worry about. So with them negating anything, it's either negate the effects that you're doing from the Lightsworns or the effects that you're doing to retrieve Exodia. Next is Solar Recharge. The reason I run this, you discard 1 Lightsworn monster, you get to draw 2 cards, and then you also get to throw the top 2 cards of your deck into the graveyard, which is super nice. This is really hard to take off. 1 charge of the Light Brigade, search out a 1 level 4 or lower monster from your deck that is a Lightsworn, and you have to mill the top 3 cards of your deck. So if you're noticing the pattern with all of this, the whole point is just, it's okay to mill him in there, because if they want to take the time to get rid of him instead of a Judgment Dragon or get rid of a Michael, for example, there's no point. Like, it's like, do you go for the Exodia or do you go for that? Fuck. This skit was supposed to be fun. Please, Master. I only messed up once. Painful choice. This was actually a painful choice of me to put in. Basically what this card does is you actually get to take 5 cards from your deck and show your opponent them, and they have to choose one to put it in your hand. So say you had most of the actual cards to retrieve, you can get all 5 pieces, throw him into the graveyard, and retrieve him super quickly. I've done that multiple times with this deck already, and it's an OTK right there. I really hope like my director doesn't walk in here, because like, I have shit like all over my throat. He's gonna freak out. I don't know if you need to hear this, but this is the peak male performance right here. Next, 1 Dark Hole, because, you know, Dark Hole, it's a good ass fucking card. And then 1 Monster Reborn, onto the traps. 2 Obliterates. So basically what this card does is you actually get to toss an Exodia piece into the graveyard and make one of the cards go back to your opponent's hand, which has to be a monster. But it's still nice because that's a piece in the graveyard, and it's also a card off their field that you don't have to worry about. But on top of that, if this card is destroyed, you get to retrieve a piece of Exodia. So out of all the cards that you have like several different ones that'll retrieve only 5 pieces that you need. The last trap is Breakthrough Skill. The reason I use this is it turns one of the monsters into a normal monster on your opponent's side, and pretty much when it's in the graveyard, it does the same exact thing. On to the extra deck. So here's the thing, it's an extra deck for an Exodia deck. There's really no point to have too many of them, so what I run is I run 3 Michaels. Basically his ability is pay 1,000 life points and you get to banish one of your opponent's monsters. Super helpful, and you get to do it once per turn, so it's pretty nice. Stardust Dragon. The reason I run him is just when you're on the field and you need something that if they're going to keep popping your cards anyways, he's a good way to kind of keep coming back and make sure you have something on the field. And the last one is Judgment, the Dragon of Heaven. The reason I run 2 copies of this guy is because sometimes you end up with 2 level 4s, and one's a tuner, one's not, and I noticed that that was kind of a thing with it. His ability where you have 4 different tuners, and you get to, if they're in your graveyard, you get to, you know, pay 1,000 life points, destroy everything on the field. That's not really why I use him. I use him because he's a 3,000 and he sends the top 4 cards of your deck to the graveyard. I think I genuinely need to get some help to take this thing the fuck off. I got in big trouble. And that's the deck profile. If you guys enjoyed the video today, go ahead and leave a thumbs up and subscribe. And go ahead and leave me some feedback if you guys want to do some of your own decks, kind of show me what you've made for Exodia, because he's an old school card and I just mainly did this for nostalgia, and I love Lightsworns. So have a good day, and Charm Bracelet out.